World of Tanks Frontline tips. Whenever Frontline is coming around, I spend about an hour preparing for the game. So the first thing that I do is I go over here and I go to Tier 8 and I click Tier 8 tanks, and I got my whole garage. These are all the potential vehicles that I could be playing in Frontline, and I'm going to bring it down to about 20 vehicles. So the next thing that I do is I put everybody in the garage. Now this vehicle, I'm not going to do it because it's already correct. I already spent time working on it. And that one's kind of correct. That one's correct. So obviously you focus on the premium tanks and anyone that's in the wrong vehicle. A little bit different now because you can put players in the wrong vehicle and you can still use them. So after I put everybody in the barracks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the tanks I'm going to play. And first I select the regular tech tree tanks, and then I select the premium tanks. And there is a methodology, which is that you find offensive tanks, defensive tanks, you find tanks with good armor, you find tanks with good penetration, and the list goes on. The other thing that I focus on is finding tanks that I need to upgrade, because it's a lot easier to level up using Frontline than it is in random battles. It's a lot more fun. Gone through quite a few. I probably haven't even gone through half. I'm not going to play any of the rental tanks. They've been sitting there for a long time. And the other thing is, I usually have too many tanks. So if I go out with a light tank and I respawn, usually I have more light tanks that I can spawn in with. Some of the tech trees, like France, there's a lot of good light tanks. And then with Russia, there's a lot of good heavy tanks. So you're going to have some issues with the crew. Not always going to go out with the best crew. Okay, it looks like I'm almost done. The SCRV I could keep the crew in because I already know that there's not a lot of crew to pick from. Okay, so you go to your tech tree. We're going to go through real quick. And you look at Tier 8. This one, I know that it's not an elite vehicle because I probably haven't played a game in it yet. That was the first tank that I showed you in this video. So that's one of the vehicles I'm going to be playing. Over here I already have every Tier 9. Over here I have every Tier 9. I've played most of them. Sold some of them. See over here this Saladin. I haven't made it to the Tier 9. I've got to get another 60,000 XP. So I'm going to definitely be playing that tank. Over here we've got the Blesk. I don't own it yet, so it's not going to be ready for Frontline. And over here I've got two, got to check the Cheeto. And it looks like it's got ways to go, so I'm probably not going to have it ready for Frontline. Over here we've got the BZ-166. I haven't bought it yet, and my crew is in the BZ-58. So there's a chance I might buy it and move them up. Possibly it could happen this time around. We got another one over here, the Kalana. I have to level that up. That one's okay. And this one, I'm pretty sure I haven't played the tank yet. You see it's got a lot of research too. So I've got 3 tanks that are tech tree tanks that I want to level up. One of them is this one. This one I'm going to check over here. He's got everything. He's an elite tank. I don't care about the field modification. I need cash right now. So I'm going to send the crew to the barracks. Over here it doesn't matter because there are no premium vehicles. The Saladin is going to keep its crew. The Bat Chat I'm going to have to decide later because there's a lot of French light tanks and I got a lot of crew. It's an important decision I'll decide later. The Udis looks like I already have it leveled up. It's a great tank to play. I think it's fun to play. And I know that there's not going to be any premium tanks, but I'm going to put them out just in case. We've got the Italian one. I could put some crew in, but I got to do more, and I've got a lot of other tanks to play, so I decided I'm probably going to skip that one. HWK, I don't need to worry about. LTTB, already played it a lot. AT-15. I don't know if you remember, many years ago there was a competition where it takes your 5 best games in a row. I got like the highest score with this vehicle, meaning like of everybody on the NA server. So the Lynx 6x6, definitely want a crew for that, but his crew is on another vehicle, so I'm going to have to skip it for now. Okay, so we've gone through those vehicles. Now I'm going to go through the premium vehicles. I'm going to click on premium. The VK. I like to do it actually one class at a time. We don't need to worry about SPG. I'll do tank destroyers next. So you want something that's heavily armored. You want something with good penetration. This one here, I know that there's not another vehicle. I've already leveled up the Udis. So I'm going to prepare that one. I like the TS5, so I'm going to put a crew into the TS5. Going to check to make sure it's a tank destroyer and look at the perks. If his last name is Abbott, he's a 0-skill BIA crew member. I renamed all of them to have the last name of Abbott. Now you see that this guy came out of the T-28. So I had to take him out. This guy over here, Birchnall, he might not be a 0-skill BIA, but Drew Abbott over here is. So if I put him in, he's going to level up faster. Okay, so I got my TS5 ready. It's got a good penetration gun. This has got a good penetration gun. I like to play the Cannon d'Assault. This is probably the only French tank destroyer. Oh, no, wait, there is another one. Because you have the Kananen Jagdpanzer. There's actually 2 of them. Oh, that's a German tank. Okay, so for France, there's only one and I don't have a crew. So, well, actually there's a crew member there and one there and one there. I don't have a commander. Oh, I do have a commander. Okay, so I'm going to put this crew in. And I like the SU-130 PM. However, the Scorpion is kind of more important. So I'm going to put in the Scorpion crew. ABT is my 0-skill BIA crew member for Germany. And over here we got a female crew member. Going to level her up. And then we've got these guys. Check to make sure everything's good. I'll deal with the crew skills later. And then the SU-130 PM, we've got, this is Russia. And just take a look once again. This is a high damage vehicle. I'm going to put in this guy. Antonov is my 0 skill BIA crew members. There's another Antonov. There's another Antonov. And then I'll put this guy in. Okay, so we got that vehicle. I will try to put in this one. Is he in another vehicle? He's in that 152K, so we don't want to take him out. Why is he in... Oh, he's in a tier 10 vehicle. So I did kind of make a mistake. I didn't pull everybody out. I only pulled out the tier 8 crew. You really got to pull everybody out. I'm looking on the pop-up. It says in the vehicle ISU 152K. He's in the ISU 152K. So we got to find someone that's available, which is going to be that guy right there. So I pulled these guys out. That means that this other vehicle over here is not going to be able to have a crew because they're all in other vehicles. And I'm going to look at his penetration. Wow, 258 is pretty good. And I'm going to look at this one, 244. So it's actually, this vehicle's a higher penetrating vehicle, but I'm going to not take it in. And it looks like he has some, well, maybe he doesn't have better equipment. So now if you want defense, you're going to want the turtle. So I'm going to put some crew in. The Abbotts are my British 0 skill BIA crew members. They're in, look, these guys are in a tier 7 vehicle. Okay, so now I've got my turtle prepared in case I need to play defensive. So the turtle and the TS5 are defensive tanks. The Scorpion, the SU, and the STRV are sniper tanks, and the ISU 152 is a high damage tank. Now for the STRV, you're going to want to make sure you got lots of gold rounds. This is a tank you're going to bring in if you just want to go and do a lot of penetrations, which I don't always do, but sometimes I just go in and say, yeah, I'm going to penetrate everything today. So these other vehicles, I think I'm going to skip. I got enough vehicles. Sometimes I do play with the Yag, Tiger, and the G-Sor is nice, but I got enough vehicles. So I am going to switch to heavy tanks, which is going to be a little bit more difficult. I guess it's not so many. So the VK is important, but the autoloaders are also important. Okay, the Mutant, I'm definitely going to take in because he's got that strong armor. I use it for capping. He doesn't get a lot of gameplay. You notice that none of these are 0 skill BIA crew members, as far as I know. Okay, so we got that one done. And you can also click on the country like this. And I could do one country at a time. The T-34 is a great tank. But you know what? This 832 is a pretty good tank too. I'm just going to check real quick. Penetration is low. This one, the penetration is good. Gonna check the armor. It says 298, 279. It's got like better armor, but the penetration is lower. And to be honest, I'm probably not going to take it in anyway. You know why? Because I've got too many other tanks that are great. Okay, the VK. You use it for capping. Normally I put in the fun tanks first, which are going to be the autoloaders. They're all going to be Russian right now. You see a lot of them say ABT. That's because they're zero skill BIA. The E75TS, this is a great tank. I love playing it. Okay, now Russia is where we got the IS-3A, the Object 703 version 2, and there's a tech tree vehicle, but I'm not going to play the tech tree vehicle. I'm going to put in the 703-2 first. The Antonov is zero skill BIA. Okay, the IS-3A would definitely put this in. Obviously, all the female crew members are zero skill BIA, which means that they're going to level up their crew faster. These other vehicles I might leave out. I really don't need the Defender. I could put it in, but I've got enough vehicles that are super heavy. And it gets confusing when you've got too many vehicles. The Somua. This one's an autoloader. I don't remember the last name that I use for my French zero skill BIA, but it probably begins with the letter A. I'm going to skip that other vehicle. I'm going to skip those. Probably skip these. I'm definitely going to do the Emil, because it's an autoloader. And then the Italian vehicle. You know, the Bisante, it's not a great, it's not like a super overpowered vehicle, but it's okay. It's better than a lot of the other tanks. Because it's an autoloader, it gives you a lot more flexibility. So I'm going to leave it in. I can always take it out if I want. So then I'm going to go down to medium tanks. Definitely going to bring in the Progetto. That last crew member was named after my father. Okay, we've got the Lorraine 40T and the Burask. The Burask is a fun tank. Might not be able to put in the Lorraine 40T. I think I'm going to have to use crew member from another tank. That's weird. It's not allowing me to pick another gunner. Okay, so I guess the Lorraine 40T is not going to be in the game. That's a disappointment. Not going to put that in. Not going to put that in. Nothing there. Probably not going to put these in. I think the pilot is a sniper tank. Super Pershing is great and everything. Now, light tanks. The T-92, I will put the crew in. Even though it's a last choice vehicle. Now in the case of this guy right here, Abbott over here is a 0 skill BIA. But he doesn't have a lot of perks, so I really am not going to put him in. This guy's got way more. And he's about to level up. He's got 99%. So I'm going to let him level up. Definitely want the EBR. So this says EBR 105. I'm going to take the EBR 105. And then the ELC is good for capping. So I'm going to put in the 13105 crew. That's weird. I thought I had another French vehicle. Oh, here it is, the Batchat 12T. He's already got his crew. And the Lynx would be wonderful, but I don't have a crew for it right now. So I played the Lynx a lot. He's going to have to stay out. I'll have to put in one of these other vehicles. So for light tank gameplay, I'm going to play the French EBR, the ELC, the T-92, the Batchat. These other vehicles I'm not that crazy about, but the LT-432 is good for Frontline because it's bouncy. So that's everybody. See if we can put some crew in here. Looks like his crew is in another vehicle, so I'm going to leave that one out. Sometimes I do play SPG if I get bored. So now I go to Tier 8. These are the vehicles that I'm going to play during Frontline. The next thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go through all the crew skills. Unfortunately, I cannot get better crew for this tank, but he needs to level up because he needs tracks, engine, gun, etc. So I'm going to go through all my crew, look for anybody that needs to have crew skills added, like this guy over here does. So obviously you want safe stowage. And I would do the shell velocity. The increased minimum potential. Yeah, definitely go with that. And then this one, this is an SPG. Controlled impact is good. Off-road driving is good. The smooth ride is going to help, I think, because you're constantly going back and forth. Okay, I'm just going to go for it. Close to leveling up. That was not an SPG. That was the Scorpion. This vehicle here I would consider playing because it's a fun tank. But I need the cash, so I'm going to go with the premium tanks. Go through every crew member. Don't have that many more. Got a few more vehicles. Okay, I got to fix that one and that one. Yeah, so I do this before Frontline every time there's a Frontline event. Okay, definitely want safe stowage. And I know you can do more than one at a time, but I'm not going to. The shell velocity is good. The minimum damage is good. I'll do this one here. Safe stowage, perfect charge, ammo tuning. And this one you're going to get is a tank destroyer, so the XP and replacing knocked out crew, cooldown no. Increases aiming speed after you spot. Frontline, it doesn't really matter. I guess I'm going to use the sound detection, which also doesn't matter for Frontline. So I guess not going to get anything that good for that one. Okay, situational awareness is pretty important. The spotting time is good. This spotting time is good. The firefighting is good. I'm going to pick the situational awareness. And you want to get that spotting alert as quickly as possible. And you know what? Firefighting is very important. There's only one crew member that gets it, so I'm going to get firefighting. And this one's good. So now I have everything ready for Frontline. And when the game starts, it's not going to show all these other tanks. So they won't be in your way. And the only other thing that's left is to maybe go through and pick up a few extra tanks like a Defender. I would consider adding the Defender because it should have good armor. I don't know if the hull armor... Yeah, it's okay. We'll check the 50 TP. It's got good armor. I'm going to check the penetration, kind of average. So the other thing that I would do is I would put them in the comparison and compare all the vehicles and see if I made the right choice. And obviously, because I've been doing this a long time, I do know what the right choices are. So the last thing I would do is start out with the Saladin, because that's the one I've got to upgrade. The Saladin, and I'm going to be playing this one here. Got to make sure it's got all the equipment. So that's the other thing that I got to do, is go through every vehicle, make sure it's got full equipment, and also fix these to be the way I want it to be. You're going to want one that has gold rounds, so that if it's a clutch game and you need to win and you've got 5 minutes left, you're rolling with the gold rounds. The good thing about the directives is that if you respawn, you only pay for the directives once. I do see one change I'd like to make, or maybe two. Everything's looking good. And the reason why is probably because I played these vehicles in Frontline. So I would have to equip this vehicle. And if I can't equip it, then I'm not going to bring it in. So I've got the vents, and I've got the gun laying drive. I could do the camo net. The Grousers are good for turretless tank destroyers and SPGs because you're constantly spinning them around. So use the Grousers when there's no turret, and then use a turbocharger for other vehicles. The other thing I gotta do is, because I want to get the upgrades, I will have to uncheck the crew, accelerated crew training for all of my vehicles. Over here you have improved radio set. I guess that's not the one that matters. Commander's vision is behind foliage and moving enemy vehicles. You really want something for camping, which is going to be camo net, muffler, and camo net. Double up the camo net. Put 2 camo nets. I'm looking at the accelerated crew training to make sure that all of them are off. This one probably not, because I've probably maxed it out. Oh, look at that. I can select something here. I'm going to pass on it because I got to check. It's probably going to be this. Is this? Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't matter which one I select. I'm just going to select the one that I think which is going to be for scouting. I'll do this one. It really doesn't matter because it won't be used. I guess this one has not been completed yet. He's at 11-5, so he just needs one more game. You always got to check. You can't go by the value over here. They're all going to be upgraded eventually. So he can upgrade. Obviously, the vehicles that I play often have already been upgraded. Looks like he was already upgraded, so I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. And then the last one. Not upgraded because it's the first time I've played. So that's what I do. Pretty complicated, and however long this video is how much time I spend the week before Frontline starts preparing all of my vehicles. And you know what? I didn't check the camouflage on everything. So I'm going to go through, make sure we got camo on everything. Sometimes I remove the camo because it might be a long time and I can reuse the camo. On another vehicle. Okay, that's it. Camo is good for everything. I've checked everything else, and this is my preparation for World of Tanks Frontline. I've got a lot of videos with Frontline tips that you can check on my YouTube account. You can go to cheapbooks.cc, go to Video Games, War Games, World of Tanks. There's a ton of information that I wrote. It's very in-depth, good information about playing the game. And I am the owner of cheapbooks.com, which is a website for searching for books and textbooks. If you have any questions or comments, please post below. This has been World of Tanks Tips.